The Galactic Council chamber trembled as Lieutenant Dex Apex Thorn entered, each step radiating power that made the assembled alien diplomats instinctively cower. His piercing green eyes swept the room, a predator assessing prey. The aliens, representing 1,000 peaceful worlds, had never faced anything like this human forged in Earth's crucible. Esteemed Council, Thorn's voice rumbled, a sound that spoke of Earth's thunderstorms and roaring beasts. You summoned humanity's finest to solve your Kronos sector crisis. Let me be clear, you didn't just get a soldier. You got the product of a world that turns nightmares into gods. Dr. Victor Ghost Volkov materialized beside Thorn, his silent approach making several diplomats flinch. What my colleague means, Ghost said, his icy tone matching his cybernetic gaze, is that Earth wasn't the prison you thought it was. It was an incubator. And we, he smiled, showing too many teeth, are the result. The head counselor, a being evolved from gentle herbivores, trembled visibly. But the Kronos sector, the threat is beyond anything we've faced. How can one species? One species? Thorn laughed, a sound that echoed like a war drum. We are every predator Earth ever spawned, distilled into human form. Your impossible threat, that's what we call Tuesday. Ghost's cybernetic eyes flashed as he scanned the room. Our data suggests the Kronos crisis is a level 12 threat by your standards. On Earth, we called that basic training. Thorn stepped forward, his massive frame casting a shadow over the council table. You locked our ancestors on a death world, thinking it would break us. Instead, you made us stronger. You didn't create prisoners. You created gods. The council chamber fell silent, filled only with the sound of alien hearts racing in fear and awe. Humanity's apex predators had arrived, and the galaxy was about to learn what Earth's crucible had forged. The Kronos sector didn't stand a chance. Let me show you what Earth's gravity did to human bones, Thorn said, casually lifting a 3-ton security barrier with one hand. The Kronos sector command center, built for species that evolved on gentle worlds, crumbled like paper under his touch. The alien technicians scattered, their instincts screaming danger in the presence of Earth's apex predator. Ghost followed behind, his sensors mapping the facility. Fascinating. Their strongest materials are equivalent to what Earth children play with. His cybernetic eyes flickered through spectrum analyses. Thorn, detection grid ahead. Supposedly impenetrable. Supposedly. Thorn's grin was all predator. He didn't break stride as he walked through the energy barrier, his Earth-forged physiology treating the alien security measure like morning mist. Arcs of energy crackled around him, unable to penetrate skin tempered by millennia of radiation and environmental extremes. You know what Earth taught us about impenetrable defenses, Ghost? They only exist on worlds that never had to stop something like us. The facility's alarm screamed, a cacophony of sound that would incapacitate most species. To Earth-evolved ears, it was barely a whisper. Thorn and Ghost moved deeper into the complex, their enhanced senses mapping every corridor, every hidden chamber. Life signs ahead, Ghost murmured, his cybernetic eyes piercing through walls. Kronos sector's elite guard, 30 individuals, heavily armed. Thorn's laugh was low and dangerous. Heavily armed by whose standards? Theirs or Earth's? The security forces that responded the Kronos sector's finest warriors froze at the sight of Thorn's massive frame filling the corridor. Their weapons, designed to stop the most dangerous creatures known to their gentle worlds, looked like toys in comparison to the living weapon before them. Your species, one of them chittered in fear, mandibles clicking rapidly. You were supposed to be contained. Earth was supposed to be a prison. Prison? Thorn moved with liquid grace, covering impossible distance in microseconds. The alien warriors found themselves disarmed before they could register movement. Weapons clattered to the floor, crushed and twisted by hands strong enough to reshape metal. Earth was our forge. Every predator, every storm, every catastrophe. They weren't our jailers. They were our teachers. Ghost appeared from nowhere, his stealth systems making Earth's apex predators look obvious by comparison. The aliens recoiled, their evolutionary instincts screaming at the sudden appearance of another human. Your ancestors thought high gravity would crush us. Instead, it gave us dense muscle fiber and unbreakable bones. They thought deadly fauna would cull us. Instead, we learned to hunt the hunters. Thorn lifted one of the alien warriors, a being that outweighed him by several hundred kilos, with a single hand. Your weapons are designed to puncture hide, to sever limbs. But Earth taught us to evolve past such vulnerabilities. He set the trembling alien down with surprising gentleness. We're not here to conquer. We're here to protect. But first, you need to understand what you're dealing with. Your historical records, Ghost continued, addressing the stunned security team, speak of gods and monsters, of beings with power beyond mortal comprehension. You thought these were myths. His cybernetic eyes flashed, projecting holographic data. Let me show you what Earth gravity does to muscle density, what Earth predators taught us about speed and reflex. The aliens watched in awe and terror as the hologram displayed human capabilities, speeds that broke the sound barrier, strength that could reshape landscapes, reflexes faster than their optical nerves could process. This is why Earth wasn't a prison. Thorn's voice carried the weight of evolutionary triumph. It was an incubator. Every challenge, every threat, every moment of our history, it was all leading to this. To us standing here, ready to face whatever nightmare the galaxy can produce. And now, Ghost added, his tone carrying a hint of anticipation, you're about to learn what happens when you need gods to solve your problems. The facility's central core lay ahead, where the Chronos sector's greatest threat awaited. But first, they had to show the galaxy exactly what Earth had created. The security team, their weapons forgotten, parted to let Thorn and Ghost pass. They moved not with the aggression of conquerors, but with the purpose of protectors. Earth had forged them in fire and blood, through countless extinctions and rebirths. And now, the galaxy was about to witness the full power of what that crucible had produced. It was time for a demonstration. The central core of the Chronos facility thrummed with dark energy, its containment field struggling to hold back what the aliens called the Great Devourer, a quantum entity that fed on biological matter. Through the reinforced viewing windows, Thorn watched the writhing mass of tentacles and void black flesh that had already consumed 3 peaceful worlds. Their containment is failing, Ghost observed, his cybernetic eyes analyzing the fluctuating energy patterns. 2 hours at most before it breaks free. The Galactic Council's finest minds called it unstoppable. Thorn rolled his shoulders, the sound of his joints cracking echoing like gunshots in the tense silence. Unstoppable? On Earth, we called such things breakfast. Show me the data on its feeding patterns. The alien scientists, huddled in the corner of the control room, watched in fascination as Ghost projected a holographic analysis. The creature's tentacles whipped against the containment field, each impact sending tremors through the facility's foundation. It hunts by sensing fear, Ghost explained, his fingers dancing through the data. These peaceful species are perfect prey. Their terror draws it like a beacon. 3 billion deaths so far, all because they never evolved to fight back. Fear response, Thorn mused, a predatory smile spreading across his face. Earth taught us something interesting about fear, didn't it, Ghost? Indeed. On Earth, fear isn't just an emotion, it's a weapon. Ghost turned to the alien scientists. Your species feel fear to flee. Humans? We evolved to feel fear and fight harder. Earth didn't just make us stronger, it rewired our very instincts. Thorn approached the containment field, his massive frame casting a shadow that seemed to make even the Great Devourer pause. Your ancestors thought Earth's predators would break us. Instead, they taught us to become something more. Every creature that tried to eat us became our teacher. Every threat that tried to kill us became our strength. The entity slammed against the barrier again, but this time Thorn didn't flinch. Instead, he began removing his combat suit's outer layers. The aliens gasped as they saw the full extent of his Earth-forged physiology, skin marked with scars from 1,000 battles, muscles dense enough to shrug off their strongest weapons. "What are you doing?" one of the scientists chittered in panic. "Showing you why Earth wasn't a prison," Thorn growled. "Ghost, drop the containment field." "You can't," an alien technician screamed. "It will consume you." Ghost's laugh was cold as Arctic wind. "You still don't understand. Earth didn't just make us stronger. It made us into the very thing nightmares fear." His fingers moved over the controls, dropping containment in 3, 2, 1. The field fell, and the great devourer surged forward, tentacles reaching for its newest prey. But instead of fear, it encountered something it had never faced before: a predator forged in Earth's crucible. A being whose very cells had been tempered by fighting monsters for millions of years. Thorn's hands caught the first tentacles, his grip stronger than the quantum-reinforced restraints that had failed to hold the creature. "You want to know what Earth taught us about monsters?" he roared, his voice carrying the weight of evolutionary triumph. "It taught us how to become worse than they are." The creature recoiled, experiencing for the first time something it had never known: fear of prey. Ghost sensors recorded everything as Thorn demonstrated exactly what Earth's gravity, radiation, and relentless evolutionary pressure had created. "Remarkable," Ghost commented to the stunned aliens. "The entity feeds on fear, but it never encountered a species that learned to weaponize it. Earth didn't just make us resistant to fear, it taught us to turn terror into power." The battle that followed would be spoken of in whispered legends across the galaxy. A single human, product of Earth's merciless forge, proving that the monsters lurking in space were nothing compared to what humanity had become. When it was over, when the great devourer lay broken and contained by means no alien mind had conceived, Thorn turned to the watching scientists. His eyes glowed with the same predatory shine that had made Earth's ancient prey flee in terror. "Now you understand," he said quietly. "Earth wasn't a prison. It was an incubator for gods. And we," he gestured to the defeated entity, "we're just getting started." Ghost collected his final readings and nodded to his partner. "Shall we show them what else Earth taught us?" Thorn's smile was all teeth and triumph. After all, this was just the warm-up. The galaxy was about to learn that locking humanity on Earth hadn't contained them. It had created something far beyond containment. "Your species tried to quarantine us on the deadliest world in the galaxy," Thorn said, standing before the Galactic Science Council. "Now you need us to save you from what's coming out of the void between galaxies. Ironic, isn't it?" The council chamber, filled with the finest minds from 1,000 peaceful worlds, hummed with nervous energy. On the massive display behind them, sensor data showed the approaching threat: a swarm of void-born entities that defied known physics, consuming light and life with equal hunger. Ghost materialized from the shadows, making several council members jump. His cybernetic eyes projected data into the chamber's holographic system. "These void entities have already consumed 3 galaxy clusters. Your most advanced weapons pass right through them. Your strongest shields might as well be missed." "Which is why," the chief counselor's translator hummed, "we have taken the unprecedented step of asking for human intervention. Though we still don't understand how your species survived Earth's evolution." Thorn's laugh carried the weight of millennia of survival. "Let me tell you about Earth's gravity, about radiation that would melt your strongest materials, about predators that taught us to become something more than mere survivors." Ghost displays shifted, showing Earth's history. "Your ancestors thought they were containing a primitive species on a death world. Instead, they placed us in an accelerated evolution chamber. Every crisis that should have ended us made us stronger. Every predator that should have culled us taught us to become better hunters." "But these void entities," another counselor chittered, "they're unlike anything in known space. How can even humans?" "Unlike anything in known space?" Thorn's grin showed too many teeth. "On Earth, we called that Tuesday. Ghost, show them what Earth's gravity did to human bone density. Show them what our radiation did to human cellular regeneration." The displays shifted again, and the council chamber fell silent in shock. The data couldn't be right. No species could evolve such resilience, such power. Earth wasn't trying to kill us, Ghost explained, his voice carrying clinical precision. It was upgrading us. Every challenge, every near-extinction event, every predator, they were all just steps in our metamorphosis. Thorn moved to the central platform, his every movement a demonstration of power barely contained. You wanted to know if humans could stop these void entities. Let me show you what Earth's prison really created. The Council was about to learn that they hadn't contained humanity. They had incubated gods. And now those gods were their only hope against the darkness between stars. The void entities will reach the Carina sector in 6 hours, Ghost announced, his cybernetic eyes tracking the swarm's approach through multiple dimensions. Conventional evacuation would take days. Fortunately, Earth taught us something about impossible deadlines. The command carrier, Terra's Forge, hung in space like a testament to human engineering. Built by hands evolved to bend steel, powered by minds that learned to harness forces that should have destroyed them, it represented everything Earth's crucible had produced. Thorn stood at the command platform, his massive frame dwarfing the alien officers around him. Launch the probes. Let's see what we're really dealing with. The void entities filled the viewscreens, writhing masses of unmatter that devoured light itself. The alien crew watched in horror as the probes, built with their most advanced technology, simply ceased to exist upon contact. Fascinating, Ghost murmured, analyzing the data. They don't just consume matter, they erase it from reality. No species could survive that kind of. No species that evolved on gentle worlds, Thorn corrected, his grin predatory. But Earth threw worse at us. Remember the quantum storms in the death zones? The reality-warping predators in the deep reaches? Ghost's laugh was cold. The very things that should have ended us became our strengths. Your ancestors, he addressed the alien crew, thought Earth's radiation would sterilize us. Instead, it taught our cells to rewrite themselves. They thought the gravity would crush us. Instead, it made us unbreakable. The void swarm approached, and the alien sensors screamed warnings. But Thorn stood unmoved, his Earth-forged frame radiating confidence that bordered on divinity. Deploy the containment fields, he ordered. Show them what humans learned about handling the impossible. The carrier's weapons powered up not conventional energy weapons, but something new. Something born from humanity's understanding of forces that should have killed them. You see, Ghost explained to the bewildered alien officers, Earth didn't just make us stronger. It taught us to understand forces your species never had to face. Your weapons can't touch these entities because you never evolved to comprehend true void. But Earth's dark places, they prepared us for exactly this. Thorn's hands moved over the controls, each motion precise despite their devastating power. Earth wasn't a prison, he said quietly. It was a training ground. And now? Now we'll show you what its graduates can do. The void entities surged forward, hungry for new reality to devour. They were about to learn that humanity had evolved far beyond mere reality. Earth had made sure of that. You want to see what Earth's darkness taught us about the void? Thorn's voice rumbled through the command carrier's speakers as he stepped into the airlock. No protective suit, no breathing apparatus, just Earth-forged flesh about to face the impossible. Ghost sensors tracked his partner's vital signs, displaying them for the stunned alien crew. Normal human adaptation to extreme conditions beginning. Watch closely, you're about to see why Earth's radiation was actually a gift. The airlock cycled open. Vacuum embraced Thorn, but instead of dying, his body began to change. Skin hardened into something that made the alien sensors shriek in disbelief. Muscles densified until they could bend space itself. Eyes adapted to see through the void's emptiness. Impossible, one of the alien scientists whispered. No biological entity can survive direct exposure to. Impossible? Ghost's laugh carried genuine amusement. Earth's gravity is 6 times what your species considers survivable. Its radiation would melt your strongest shields. Its predators would drive your evolution-stunted minds insane. We didn't just survive it, we learned to thrive in it. Thorn's voice came through the comms, distorted by his transformation. Ghost, activate the void breakers. Show our friends what humans learned about fighting nothing itself. The carrier's special weapons powered up technology that seemed to defy physics because it was built by beings who had evolved beyond physical limitations. The void entities sensed the change, their unmatter forms writhing in what might have been the first fear they'd ever known. "You see," Ghost explained, his cybernetic eyes recording everything for posterity. "Earth didn't just challenge us physically. It taught us to understand forces your species never imagined. Every near-extinction event forced us to adapt. Every cosmic horror that should have ended us just made us stronger." Thorn moved through space like a god among shadows, his transformed body radiating power that made even the void retreat. The alien crew watched in awe as a single human demonstrated why Earth hadn't broken humanity, it had perfected them. "The void entities don't understand what they're facing," Ghost continued, monitoring the battle. "They evolved in empty space, feeding on light and matter. But we evolved in Earth's crucible, where every day was a war against forces that should have killed us." The void breakers fired, their beams guided by Thorn's impossible presence. Where they struck, the entities didn't just die, they ceased to have ever existed. Reality itself bent around human will, shaped by hands evolved to master forces beyond comprehension. "Your ancestors," Thorn's transformed voice boomed through the comms, "thought they were being clever? Locked the violent species on a death world. Let nature solve their problem. But nature didn't solve us." His laugh shook space itself. "Nature perfected us." The battle lasted less than an hour. When it was done, when the void entities had been erased from every dimension they inhabited, Thorn returned to the carrier. His body shifted back to human form, but his eyes still glowed with power that made the alien crew step back. "Now you understand," he said quietly to the assembled scientists. "Earth wasn't trying to kill us. It was teaching us to become something more. Every challenge, every horror, every moment of evolution in that crucible, it was preparing us for this." Ghost nodded, closing his data files. "Humanity didn't just survive Earth. We absorbed it, became it. And now," he gestured to the cleared space where the void entities had been, "now we're what stands between the galaxy and the horrors between stars." The alien crew looked at their sensors, at the impossible data of what they'd witnessed, and finally understood. They hadn't imprisoned humanity on Earth. They'd given them an incubator to become gods. And the galaxy was better for it. They call themselves the Shapers. Ghost cybernetic eyes projected the image of crystalline beings that towered over skyscrapers. "They've spent billions of years evolving to manipulate matter itself, and now they want to fix humanity." Thorn stood at the observation deck of Orbital Station Delta, watching as the Shaper vessels approached Earth's solar system. Each ship was a masterpiece of crystalline engineering, beautiful and terrible in its perfection. The alien fleet had already fixed 3 primitive species, reshaping them into what the Shapers considered proper life forms. "Fix us?" Thorn's laugh made the reinforced viewport vibrate. "They think we need fixing. Ghost, show them what their scans are missing about human biology." The data streamed across the holographic displays layers of evolutionary adaptations that made the alien scientists present gasp in what might have been horror or awe. Bones dense enough to withstand forces that would shatter steel. Muscles that could generate power equivalent to small fusion reactors. Nervous systems that processed information faster than quantum computers. "Your species is an aberration," the Shaper ambassador's crystalline form chimed through the translator. "Evolved through random chance and violence. We offer perfection, purpose, design." "Random chance?" Ghost voice carried genuine amusement. "Let me show you what Earth's random chance created." He projected new data human cellular structure, the result of millions of years of Earth's relentless forging. Every predator that tried to eat us became part of our evolution. Every disaster that should have ended us became our strength. Thorn moved closer to the ambassador, his Earth-forged frame making the crystalline being's perfect form seem fragile in comparison. "You think you can improve on what Earth created?" Earth, with its crushing gravity and constant radiation. Earth, where every second of evolution was a war for survival. We have reshaped species far more primitive than yours, the ambassador chimed. Your resistance is primitive? Thorn's grin showed too many teeth. Ghost, show them what happened to the last species that thought they could contain humanity. The displays shifted to footage of the void entity battle, of human flesh transforming to fight impossible enemies. The Shaper ambassador's crystalline form vibrated with what might have been the first uncertainty it had ever felt. You see, Ghost explained, his tone clinically precise. Earth didn't make us primitive. It made us adaptable, unstoppable. Every challenge you think would break us, he gestured to Thorn, just makes us stronger. The Shaper fleet hung in space like a promise of unwanted perfection. They were about to learn why Earth wasn't a prison or a cradle of primitive life. It was a forge for gods. And its children were done being underestimated. Commencing biological restructuring, the Shaper mothership announced, its crystalline beam enveloping Thorn. They had chosen him as the first test subject, confident their perfect technology could reshape even Earth's finest specimen into their vision of proper life. Ghost watched from the observation deck, his cybernetic eyes recording everything. The alien scientists around him waited for humanity's champion to be transformed, to be perfected by the Shaper's evolutionary mastery. They were about to learn a crucial lesson about Earth's children. Fascinating, Thorn's voice carried through the calm, completely unchanged. Ghost, are you seeing this? Their restructuring beam. It's like Earth's radiation storms. Remember the death zone summers? The Shaper's crystalline forms vibrated in impossible confusion. Their beam, which had reshaped entire species, washed over Thorn's Earth-forged body like water over stone. Indeed, Ghost replied, projecting the cellular analysis. Their energy is trying to impose order, to force evolution along their chosen path. But Earth taught our cells something interesting about forced evolution, didn't it? Thorn laughed, the sound making the Shaper's perfect crystals resonate with uncertainty. Earth taught us that true perfection isn't about order, it's about adaptation. His muscles began to shift, not yielding to the Shaper's power, but absorbing it. You want to see what real evolution looks like? The transformation that followed defied the Shaper's billion years of calculated design. Thorn's body, forged in Earth's crucible, didn't just resist their reshaping beam, it learned from it, adapted to it, made it its own. Impossible, the Shaper ambassador chimed in harmonic distress. Your cellular structure, it's incorporating our perfection into its own pattern. Not incorporating, Ghost corrected, his sensors tracking the change. Improving upon it. You see, Earth didn't just make us strong. It taught us to take every force that should destroy us and make it part of our arsenal. Thorn stepped out of the beam, his form now radiating power that made even the Shaper's perfect crystalline technology seem primitive. Your ancestors thought Earth would break us, he said, his voice carrying frequencies that made the Shapers vibrate in primal fear. Instead, it taught us to break physics itself. Ghost displays showed what was happening on a quantum level. Human cellular structure, evolved through Earth's endless trials, doesn't just resist change, it masters it. Every predator that tried to eat us became part of our genetic memory. Every disaster that should have ended us became written into our very DNA. The Shaper ambassador's perfect form showed the first crack in its crystalline surface, a flaw in billion-year perfection. What? What are you? Thorn moved with liquid grace, each step demonstrating mastery over forces the Shapers thought they controlled. We are Earth's children, forged in radiation you can't imagine, shaped by gravity that would shatter your perfect forms, tempered by evolution that never stopped pushing us further. And now, Ghost added, closing his data files with a smile that showed too many teeth, you're about to learn why trying to perfect humanity is like trying to improve upon a force of nature. The Shapers were about to discover that their billion years of calculated evolution were nothing compared to what Earth's brutal forge had created. Perfect design was about to meet perfect adaptation. An adaptation, as Earth had taught humanity, always wins. Let me show you what Earth's crucible really created. Thorne's voice resonated through quantum space itself as he faced the Shaper fleet. His body, now a hybrid of Earth-forged evolution and absorbed Shaper energy, moved with power that made their perfect crystalline ships seem fragile. Ghost sensors tracked the transformation from the observation deck. "Notice," he explained to the trembling alien scientists, "how human DNA doesn't just resist their reshaping beam, it weaponizes it. Earth taught us that every attempt to destroy us becomes our strength." The Shaper mothership launched another restructuring beam, this one powerful enough to reshape continents. Thorne didn't dodge. He didn't resist. He smiled. "You still don't understand," he said as the beam struck him. Earth wasn't random evolution. It was concentrated survival, distilled into flesh and bone. Every extinction event that should have ended us. The beam's energy swirled around him, being absorbed, transformed, mastered. "They just taught us how to become extinct-proof." "Biological adaptation exceeding known parameters," Ghost announced, his cybernetic eyes recording everything. "Cellular structure incorporating Shaper energy and improving it. This is why Earth was the perfect forge. It taught us to transform every weakness into strength." The Shaper ambassador's perfect crystalline form showed more cracks as it watched its species' ultimate weapon become food for human evolution. "This defies all natural law." "Natural law?" Thorne laughed, the sound carrying harmonics that made the Shaper ships resonate. "Earth's gravity defies your natural law. Its radiation breaks your perfect patterns. Its life forms evolve faster than your billion-year plans can comprehend." He moved through space without technology, his transformed body pushing against reality itself. The Shaper fleet, for the first time in their ancient history, began to retreat. "Your ancestors," Ghost continued, projecting the battle data for all to see, "thought they were containing a primitive species on a death world. Instead, they gave us the ultimate gift, a planet that never stopped pushing us to become more." Thorne reached out, his hand now radiating power that made the Shaper's perfect technology look primitive. "You wanted to fix humanity? To reshape us into your vision of perfection?" Energy crackled around him. Earth forged flesh channeling forces that should have been impossible. "Let me show you what real perfection looks like." The battle that followed would be written into galactic history as the day perfection met its match. Thorne, single-handedly, demonstrated why Earth's brutal evolution trumped billion years of calculated design. Each Shaper weapon, each attempt to impose their order, became another tool in humanity's arsenal. "You see," Ghost explained as the last Shaper ship retreated, "Earth taught us something your perfect evolution forgot. True strength isn't about reaching a final form. It's about never stopping, never settling, always adapting." Thorne returned to the station, his body gradually shifting back to human form, but now carrying new potential, new power absorbed from those who thought they could improve upon Earth's work. "Tell your people," he said to the shaken Shaper ambassador, "that humanity doesn't need fixing. We are what we are because Earth made us unbreakable. Every challenge you throw at us," his grin showed teeth that could now bite through reality itself, "just makes us stronger." The Shapers fled, their perfect society shaken by the revelation that their billion years of evolution had just been trumped by a species forged in Earth's merciless crucible. They had tried to reshape humanity into their image of perfection. Instead, humanity had shown them what real perfection looked like. Endless adaptation, endless growth, endless becoming. Just as Earth had taught them. "They're all coming." Ghost's cybernetic eyes tracked the approaching fleets. Every species that once thought Earth was a prison. Every civilization that tried to contain us. They're here to witness what their greatest mistake created. The combined fleets of 1,000 alien species filled Earth's solar system, their ships representing the pinnacle of galactic engineering. The Shaper's crystalline vessels hung like frozen stars. The void entities' surviving swarms lurked at the system's edge. Even the quantum-locked beings from the galaxy's core had emerged to witness this moment. Thorn stood on Luna's surface, no suit, no protection, his Earth-forged body completely immune to vacuum. The gathered aliens watched in awe as he casually defied what they considered absolute laws of biology. They thought they were clever, he said, his voice carrying through quantum channels. Find the most lethal planet in known space. Isolate the violent species there. Let nature solve their problem. His laugh made the moon's regolith vibrate. Nature solved it all right, just not the way they expected. Ghost materialized beside him, his enhanced form equally dismissive of vacuum. Earth's gravity should have crushed us. Instead, he casually lifted a boulder that weighed several tons. It made us strong enough to reshape planets. The alien fleet's sensors focused on Earth itself, finally seeing what their ancestors had created. Not a prison planet, not a death world, an incubator for something beyond their comprehension. Your ancestors wanted to contain us, Thorn addressed the assembled species, to keep us from contaminating your peaceful galaxy. But Earth, he grinned, showing teeth that could now bite through quantum barriers. Earth had other plans. The demonstration was about to begin. The galaxy was finally ready to understand what their greatest mistake had produced. Earth hadn't broken humanity. It had forged them into something more. And now, its children were ready to show the galaxy exactly what that meant. Let us show you what Earth really created, Thorn announced, his voice resonating through every ship in the assembled fleet. He and Ghost stood on Luna's surface, Earth rising behind them like a testament to their evolution's forge. First, Ghost began, his cybernetic eyes projecting data for all to see. Earth's gravity, 6 times what your species consider survivable. He casually leaped, covering kilometers in a single bound. Luna's lesser gravity, nothing to muscles forged in Earth's crucible. Your ancestors thought it would crush us. Instead, Thorn demonstrated, his Earth-forged frame moving with impossible power. He struck Luna's surface, not with violence, but with controlled strength. The impact created a new crater, perfectly circular, a kilometer wide. The alien fleet's sensors screamed at the display of casual power. Then there's radiation, Ghost continued, his body now glowing with absorbed energy. Earth bombarded us with enough radiation to sterilize your worlds. But instead of dying, he released a burst of controlled power that made the quantum-locked beings retreat in fear. We learned to harness it. But that's not the real gift Earth gave us, Thorn said, his form shifting as he demonstrated what the planet's relentless evolution had created. The real gift was adaptation itself. His flesh rippled, displaying the changes that had let humanity survive everything the galaxy had thrown at them. The void entities tried to retreat as Thorn shifted into the form that had defeated them. The Shaper's crystalline ships resonated with fear as he demonstrated the perfect adaptation that had trumped their billion-year evolution. Your ancestors, Ghost explained, his own form changing to match Thorn's, thought Earth would either kill us or break us. Instead, it taught us to become something new. Every predator that should have culled us, he grinned, showing teeth that could now rend reality, became part of our arsenal. Thorn moved through space without technology, his body adapting to each new environment instantly. Earth didn't just make us stronger, it taught us to never stop evolving. Every challenge you create, he absorbed a Shaper restructuring beam, transformed it, made it his own. Just gives us new ways to adapt. The assembled fleets watched in awe and terror as Earth's children demonstrated what their homeworld had forged them into. Not just survivors, not just warriors, something entirely new. This is why Earth wasn't a prison, Ghost's voice carried through quantum space. It was the perfect incubator. Every disaster, every near extinction, every moment of evolution. He gestured to their transformed bodies. Was just preparation for what we would become. The galaxy's greatest species, gathered to witness humanity's ultimate demonstration, finally understood their ancestors' mistake. They hadn't contained a primitive species. They had given them the perfect forge to become gods. And now those gods were ready to take their place in the galaxy. Not as conquerors, not as destroyers, but as what Earth had truly created, the ultimate guardians of life itself. Now you understand why we're not angry about being contained on Earth. Thorn's voice carried across the assembled fleets as he and Ghost demonstrated the full scope of humanity's evolution. You didn't imprison us. You gave us the greatest gift in galactic history. The demonstration had lasted hours. Earth's children had shown powers that defied physics, adaptations that rewrote biology, and strengths that made the galaxy's most advanced species feel primitive in comparison. "Look at our world," Ghost commanded, gesturing to Earth rising behind them. His cybernetic eyes projected its history for all to see. Every extinction event that should have ended us made us extinction-proof. Every predator that should have eaten us taught us to become better predators. Every disaster that should have broken us just broke our limitations instead, Thorn finished, his form shifting through dozens of adaptations. He could now survive in stars, fight in vacuum, exist in void, and reshape matter with a thought. Earth wasn't trying to kill us, it was teaching us to become something new. The alien fleets hung in space, their most advanced sensors trying to comprehend what Earth had created. The Shaper's perfect crystalline forms showed cracks of fear. The void entities retreated from beings that had mastered emptiness itself. Even the quantum-locked beings recognized power beyond their understanding. But here's the real lesson Earth taught us, Thorn continued, his voice softening. It didn't just make us stronger. It taught us why strength matters. He gestured to the gathered species. You fear us because you think we'll conquer, destroy, dominate. Ghost nodded, projecting new data. Earth taught us something more important than power. It taught us about ecosystems, about balance, about protecting life itself. His displays showed humanity's new role in the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as guardians. Every adaptation, Thorn demonstrated, shifting his form to show each power. Every strength, every capability Earth forged into us. They're not weapons. They're tools. Tools to protect, to preserve, to defend. The alien fleet's sensors detected movement from Earth. Humanity's ships emerged, but they weren't warships. They were exploration vessels, research crafts, rescue ships. Each one crewed by beings who could reshape reality, but chose to use that power to protect it instead. Earth's final lesson, Ghost explained, was about responsibility. Power without purpose is just violence, but power with purpose? He gestured to the human ships now moving through the fleet, offering knowledge, protection, and partnership. That's divinity. Thorn stood on Luna's surface, Earth behind him, addressing the galaxy that had tried to contain his species. You thought you were imprisoning monsters. Instead, you gave us the perfect forge to become protectors. Every human carries Earth's strength now, but we also carry its wisdom. The demonstration ended not with a display of power, but with an offer. Humanity, Earth's children, gods forged in evolution's greatest crucible, extended their hands to the galaxy that had once feared them. We are what Earth made us, Ghost concluded, his form returning to human while still radiating controlled power. Not just strong, not just adaptable, but wise enough to know that true power isn't about destruction. It's about protection, Thorn finished. So yes, Earth made us into gods. But it also taught us what gods are supposed to be, guardians of life itself. The galaxy's assembled species, watching Earth's children demonstrate both incredible power and incredible restraint, finally understood. They hadn't contained humanity on a death world. They had given them the perfect place to become something more than mere life forms, something more than mere survivors, something more than mere gods. They had helped create the guardians the galaxy didn't know it needed. Protectors forged in Earth's crucible. Children of the planet that didn't break them, but made them stronger, made them wiser, made them ready. Earth wasn't a prison. It was an incubator for gods, and its children had finally come home to take their place among the stars. Not as conquerors, but as protectors, just as Earth had taught them to be.